Yesterday game was horrendous, bro. I mean, it was bad. I mean, this one might be one for the ages, bro. I can't even lie. The referees just exposed their hand so bad, bro. I mean, they just didn't care no more. They didn't care. The world was watching how bad the cause was. They didn't care at all. They was going to get their issue off against the Fever no matter what. And I'm here to tell you, that's exactly what went down, bro. I mean, they got their issue off in a major way, bro. I mean, there was countless of times I could literally look at the screen and know that.
What if I told you the real MVP of the WNBA isn't a player but a referee with a personal vendetta and a whistle hotter than a jalapeno? Buckle up, because we just uncovered footage so wild it makes reality TV look like church service. Caitlin Clark didn't just get fouled, she got straight up robbed, and the receipts are messier than a toddler spaghetti night. You won't believe what this ref did, and yeah, it's all on camera. Let's jump right into it.
So lads, today the referees gave the report on the situation, and it's even worse. It's even worse than I imagined, and it was pretty grim. Like, it was a pretty grim overall, it was a pretty grim overall.
Watching the WNBA and seeing how things are run, seeing how things are done, and after you've seen what it looks like to get it right, and you come in and see something looking really wrong, you're going to call it out. It is what it is. You're going to be critical of players. If they do something shady or classless, you're going to call that.
And the whistle blows again, not for a foul, not for travel, but apparently for existing while being Caitlin Clark, because let's be honest, at this point it's not basketball, it's a badly scripted soap opera where the referees are moonlighting as cartoon villains somewhere between the missed calls, phantom fouls, and oops, I guess I didn't see that punch to the face. The WNBA referees have transformed from officials into chaos gremlins with whistles. So
share with you guys an article that I found that honestly gives us so much insight into the WNBA referees, how they are hired, how much they make, and there's one section that really stood out to me, and they break down essentially why they are making the calls that they make, and they also talk about the influx of new fans flooding to the WNBA. They talk about Caitlin Clark a little bit. This article to me was really telling. It actually came out in January, but it was published by SB Nation, and it's entitled How WNBA Referees Are Scouted, Trained, and Held Accountable.
The audience isn't confused anymore, they're exhausted. This isn't suspense, it's sabotage in slow motion. Crooked referees aren't just ruining games, they're actively draining joy from a league that's supposed to be growing fans' tune and hoping for competitive action, not referee-led improv theater. It's like watching a cooking show where the judges randomly unplug the oven mid-bake and blame the contestant, and Caitlin Clark, she's the contestant getting sabotaged, smiling politely while her three-tier cake melts into floor soup.
You would think with what they say coming into the season, Kathy was made it her business to let them know that, referees is going to be getting assessed for this next season and make sure they're making the right, proper calls. Man, at this point, we need NBA refs all the time, bro. I don't want these YMCA, junior league, high school ass referees, bro. We need real life refs, because as of right now, they're costing the Indiana Fever major games that they definitely need.
Let's be real, Caitlin looks tired, and not in the played 40 minutes, drop 30 points kind of way. No, this is that existential exhaustion that only comes from realizing you could drop 60 and someone would still call a charge because you blinked too hard. This woman is carrying a franchise, a league, and half of women's basketball fandom on her back, and the refs are out here making sure her shoelaces are tied together during every possession.
You remember how last year started? You remember the lopsided officiating that we got last year? The All-Star break comes around, the Olympic break rolls around, and then what did we hear from Lynn Dunn? Lynn Dunn goes on the Dan Dockage show, and she calls out the officiating. She calls out the refereeing. She calls out the WNBA. The lopsidedness that is being shown not in favor of the Indiana Fever. The clear biases when it comes to foul calls. The clear biases when it comes to not calling foul calls. Last year, it took us
305042. Of course she's depressed. Wouldn't you be? Imagine being world class at your job, showing up every night to work miracles, and then realizing your biggest opponent isn't even wearing the other team's jersey. It's the Zebras with whistles who somehow manage to overlook actual assaults but flag her for basic movement like she's violating some secret NBA anti-glow-up rule. The way she's being treated isn't just wrong, it's cartoonishly wrong. It's Caitlin accidentally stepped into a dimension Where logic doesn't exist, wrong. And as for Coach Stephanie White, she didn't just lose her cool, she donated it to science. She looked like she was auditioning for a reboot of Whose Line Is It Anyway, except every prompt was react to yet another insultingly bad call. The woman was pacing, yelling, and turning progressively redder like a human thermometer of injustice. It was less coaching, more live demonstration of what gaslighting looked like in real time. The refs weren't even pretending to be fair. They were just out there freestyling their own rules like it was jazz night at the officiating club.
Holistically, I think Caitlin Clark is a really hard player to officiate, much like Diana Taurasi was throughout the course of her career, for a couple of reasons. Caitlin Clark regularly gets picked up in the full court. She also gets blitzed more over the course of her career than any player in WNBA history or in that period of time. And she also creates some contact herself on the offensive end of the floor. She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her all of the time. That being said, I was in contact with a number of WNBA coaches yesterday about this topic of the officiating in the WNBA, and all of them said it needs...
There's no other way to say it. Caitlin Clark is being treated like she committed a crime against basketball when all she did was make it popular again. The WNBA wanted visibility. Great, congrats, you've got it. And now the referees are squinting into the spotlight like vampires caught in the sun, panicking under the weight of actual attention. They didn't expect fans, they didn't expect replays, and they certainly didn't expect anyone to start asking questions. Now every bad call is a meme in 5 seconds. Flat and Twitter's got slow-mo breakdowns of every flop denial and logic defying whistle, and somehow it just keeps escalating. Caitlin goes for a fast break, bam, whistle. She makes a clean steal, whoops, violation. She breathes too aggressively in the key technical foul. Meanwhile, the other team is reenacting a UFC promo and getting nothing but high five. It's like the referees got confused and thought the WNBA was a choose your own adventure book where Caitlin always ends up in detention. No matter what page you turn to, it's not just about bad calls, it's the psychological warfare of it. All the girls in her rookie year playing with the composure of a veteran and the target on her back the size of Iowa.
Sharing that the officiating in the WNBA became as hot button of an issue as any. Heated debates surrounding the league's physicality dominated the headlines, particularly when Indiana Fever star rookie Caitlin Clark was subject to several intentional fouls. Now, they also brought up Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. We actually made a whole video about that as well because there were some suspect calls at the end of that game, and a lot of people felt like the WNBA
Every time she gets up, someone's there to push her back down, sometimes literally. Meanwhile, Coach White's sideline performances are becoming more legendary than the games themselves. She's basically become the unofficial voice of reason. If reason came with red-faced yelling and clipboard throwing intensity, you can practically hear her inner monologue screaming, "Are you serious?" Every 2 minutes she's protesting so hard it's a miracle she hasn't been mic'd up and given her own post-game therapy show. And can you blame her? Watching your star player get hacked like an Amazon password and not get a whistle would make anyone snap. But instead of celebrating her, we're dissecting slow-motion clips of her getting blindsided while the refs do their best impression of a statue. It's surreal. Like, are we in a parody universe where talent is punished and mediocrity gets a standing ovation too?
It took us 4 games for Stephanie White to say, I've had enough. It's taken 4 games for Stephanie White to say, you know what? I've had absolute enough. Game 1, okay. Game 2, okay. Game 3, all right. But today was the last straw when it came for Stephanie White. The New York Liberty get to the free throw line 32 times. The Indiana Fever this season have a discrepancy minus 31 when it comes to free throws.
Because that's how it feels. Fans are noticing the stands are louder, the boos are longer, and the internet is absolutely foaming at the mouth with receipts. No one's buying the just part of the game excuse anymore. If anything, the game looks rigged by a group of interns on a caffeine bender who think consistency is optional. And if that sounds harsh, good, because it should be. This isn't just about Caitlin, it's about what happens when you bring real star power into a system that isn't built to handle it. The referees are clinging to their power like it's the last slice of pizza, blowing calls with the confidence of people who've never had their decisions reviewed in HD by 5 million viewers. Caitlin's offense playing too well, their response make it harder for her. And if something doesn't change soon, the final act's not going to end in applause, it's going to end with the crowd walking out wondering why they ever believed in the script. And just when you thought the refereeing couldn't possibly get any more bonkers, bam, they cranked the circus dial straight to 11. These refs weren't just bad, they were Olympic level bad. Like, did you borrow your rule book from a coloring book bad?
This is what the referee said happened. Why was JC Sheldon's foul upgrade to flagrant one? In the judgment of the officials, the foul by Sheldon was unnecessary. The contact to Clark's face Furthermore, there was a wind-up and impact, and the contact to face carries potential for injury. How did you come to the conclusion that that is a flagrant one? How did you come up to the conclusion that it was unnecessary? There was a wind-up, and it was to the face. The three of them that is a flagrant 2. By definition, you have described a flagrant.
At one point, it genuinely seemed like the officials were pulling fouls out of a hat labeled random nonsense while actively ignoring everything that happened to Caitlin Clark and her teammates' blatant contact. Nothing Klossland lining, just good hustle, a whole WWE suplex in the paint, apparently just excellent defense. Now, it's not a conspiracy yet, but if a few more games look like this, we're going to need to start checking earpieces, because how else do you explain this pattern of willful blindness? From people paid to literally watch things happen, it's like the referees made a blood pact to never see Caitlin Clark get fouled, no matter how many times she's flattened like a pancake on national television. There are crash test dummies out here getting more sympathy. At this point, you start wondering if there's a secret meeting happening behind closed doors at WNBA HQ. You know, one of those dimly lit smoke-free rooms where execs and Blazers huddle over PowerPoints titled How to Slow Down Caitlin Clark without looking too obvious, and the referees just loyal foot soldiers carrying out the mission sabotage under the veil of officiating. It's starting to feel like the league wants this team to struggle, like they're allergic to momentum. Every time Caitlin gets into rhythm, here come the refs with their whoops that look like a good play better ruin it.
WNBA refs are the worst. They really are the worst.
We got to unpaint these narratives. They all have heart. All the mannerisms in basketball are the same. This is going to be the same. Doesn't matter your color, your race, or your religion. That means I shot in your face. This means I'm clapping, I'm excited. How do you make basketball mannerisms about race? Make it make sense. Sometimes we might even push the ref. I'm in the heat of the moment. I'm not a bad person.
Wait, hold up, wait. You be pushing refs, Angel?
Well, I ain't never pushed them, but I've gotten in their face. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause, you know.
Even when you watch the MNBA, I would pray for, and Scott Foster sucks, but I would pray for a Scott Foster in the WNBA. Some of these women.
Meanwhile, players on other teams are out here breakdancing on defense and getting rewarded with free throws. It's a clown show and everyone's in on the joke except the people trying to play actual basketball. And while all this madness is happening, guess who's nowhere to be found? The commissioner. That's right, the mythical figure known as the silent lady in charge. You get a faster response from a magic 8-ball than from her office players get hit fans. Erupt commentators rage, and this woman. Radio silence, you could scream into the void, and you get more feedback than her weekly press activity. Try finding a public comment from her. Go ahead. You'll have better luck spotting Bigfoot in a referee jersey. The only thing consistent about her leadership is how consistently absent it is. Days go by, scandals pile up, questionable calls dominate headlines, and she's apparently in a coma made of apathy and beige-colored emails. You'd think she was running the league from a treehouse with no Wi-Fi. Penalties takes her longer than a sloth with a clipboard. Fines only after a week-long nap and a vision quest. She reacts to basketball crises the way a tortoise reacts to a house fire, slow, confused, and somehow walking the other direction.
And I will say it again, the WNBA as an organization is insufferable, and you would be hard-pressed to find another organization that is as committed to self-imploding as the WNBA.
There is no place in basketball for somebody to be poked in the eye, and then they're saying Caitlin Clark is flopping. In what world is she flopping? Oh, she flailed and she fell over. For crying out loud, that girl, JC Sheldon, should have been kicked out of the game. She should have received a flagrant 2. There's no reason why you need to poke somebody. Listen, I get it. She's playing her hard. She's guarding her. It's basketball. Aside from the viewership and the recordship and the media, it's just a basketball game. I totally get that. There's no place in basketball for like that. These
point, you half expect her to show up to a press conference and ask which team Caitlin plays for. That's how